She was 67, retired healthy, still walking her dog every morning. But for a few days, she felt something was off, a strange kind of tiredness that sleep couldn't fix, a headache she'd never had before. She brushed it off. I'm just getting older, she thought. 1 week later, she collapsed in her kitchen. A stroke, a silent one. No warning, no thunderclap. But when doctors looked back, the signs had been there. Her body had been screaming for help. She just didn't know how to listen. And that's the problem, isn't it? We've all been told strokes come out of nowhere. 1 second you're fine, the next your life changes forever. But what if I told you that's not always true? New research is now confirming what many survivors already knew. The body often whispers before it screams. There are early signs, subtle, often ignored, but they matter. Some of them can show up days, even weeks before a stroke hits. And today, I'm going to walk you through 10 of those signs. We'll break them down one by one, what they mean, why they matter, and what you should never ignore. Because sometimes knowing just one of them, just one, could change everything. So stay with me until the end. One of these signs might just save your life, or the life of someone you love. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt a little off? Maybe lightheaded, more tired than usual, or just not quite yourself? And thought, it's probably nothing. You're not alone. The truth is, we've been taught to ignore the quiet signs. We say, I'm just tired. It's just stress, or that happens with age. But here's the harsh reality: stroke is the 5th leading cause of death in the United States. Every year, over 795,000 Americans experience a stroke, and nearly 160,000 of them don't survive. Even more alarming, up to 80% of strokes are considered preventable. Think about that. And what's even worse, many of those people did have warning signs. Their bodies tried to speak up days, even weeks in advance, but the signs were too quiet, too ordinary, or too easy to explain away. That's why this video matters, because if you're over 60, you're at higher risk. That's not fear-mongering. That's just what the data says. And while stroke may feel like it hits suddenly in many cases, it doesn't. Today, I'll break down the 10 early symptoms most people miss. The ones that show up quietly. The ones that might already be happening inside you or someone close to you. And once you know what to look for, you'll never look at these symptoms the same way again. Let's get into it. Symptom number 1. Continuously high blood pressure. High blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. You can feel perfectly fine, while your blood vessels are quietly breaking down inside your body. And for older adults, especially those over 60, this silent damage builds over time until one day it becomes a stroke. Blood pressure is the force your blood puts on your artery walls. And when that pressure stays high day after day, it starts wearing those arteries thin. In the brain, that can lead to 2 dangerous outcomes. 1, an artery bursts, what doctors call a hemorrhagic stroke. 2, a clot forms and blocks blood flow, an ischemic stroke. Both are life-threatening. Both can be triggered by years of untreated hypertension. Here's what most people don't realize: you don't need to feel symptoms for high blood pressure to be dangerous. No dizziness, no pain, no warning. That's why it's silent. But it's also why checking your numbers regularly is non-negotiable. If your blood pressure is consistently above 130 over 80, it's time to take it seriously. Eat better, move more, take your meds. Because prevention isn't about fear, it's about freedom. The freedom to live without worrying when your next stroke might strike. Symptom number 2, extreme fatigue. You know your body better than anyone else. So when your energy suddenly drops for no clear reason, when even simple tasks feel like climbing a mountain, don't ignore it. Fatigue is one of the most overlooked early signs of a stroke. Not just ordinary tiredness, but a deep, unusual exhaustion that doesn't match your activity level. You're sleeping fine, eating well, but still feel like something's dragging you down. According to a 2025 study published in Neurology, extreme fatigue is common after a transient ischemic attack, a mini-stroke. Many people who felt this crushing tiredness days or weeks before their actual stroke later said, "I knew something wasn't right." Here's why it matters. Fatigue could be your body's way of telling you that blood flow to your brain is compromised. Maybe a narrowing artery, maybe a small clot. Whatever the cause, your brain isn't getting the oxygen it needs. If this kind of fatigue is new, intense, and unexplained, don't chalk it up to age. Talk to your doctor. Because what feels like tiredness today might be the warning your body gives before a stroke tomorrow. Symptom number 3, sleep disturbances. It starts small. Maybe you're waking up at 3 a.m. for no reason. Maybe you can't fall asleep like you used to. Or maybe you're sleeping too much and still waking up exhausted. Changes in your sleep pattern can be an early warning sign of stroke, not just because you're aging or feeling stressed, but because your brain's internal rhythm, the system that controls rest, healing, and blood pressure, is being disrupted. According to a major review published in the American Journal of Hypertension, consistent sleep issues significantly increase your stroke risk. Why? Because deep sleep is when your body regulates blood pressure and repairs your blood vessels. Without it, pressure builds, inflammation rises, and your stroke risk goes up. Don't ignore unusual sleep issues. If you're tossing and turning every night or sleeping way more than normal, your brain may be trying to tell you something. Talk to a healthcare provider. Good sleep isn't just rest, it's protection. Symptom number 4, vision problems. Imagine waking up one morning and noticing your vision seems off. Maybe things look blurry. Maybe you see double. Or maybe you lose sight in one eye for just a few moments. Then it comes back and you think, maybe it's just dry eyes. But don't be so quick to dismiss it. Sudden changes in vision, especially in just one eye, can be an early sign of a stroke. That's because your eyes depend on steady blood flow from the brain. When a clot or narrowing artery limits that flow, the first symptom may appear right in front of your eyes. In fact, some stroke survivors have reported temporary blindness or trouble focusing days before their stroke occurred. They didn't realize that an artery feeding the optic nerve was being blocked. What's dangerous is how easy it is to explain away. Maybe I stared at the screen too long. Maybe I slept wrong. But vision loss, even brief, is never normal. If you ever experience sudden visual changes, don't wait for it to happen again. Get checked immediately, because with strokes, timing isn't just important, it's everything. Symptom number 5, sudden and severe headache. This isn't your usual headache. It's not tension from stress or the dull throb from skipping coffee. This is different. Sudden, sharp, explosive. And it often comes without warning. A severe headache that appears out of nowhere, especially if you rarely get them, can be a red flag for a stroke, particularly a hemorrhagic stroke caused by bleeding in the brain. Many people describe it as the worst headache of my life. One study in the Journal of Headache and Pain found that about 15% of stroke patients experienced a distinct and intense headache within the week leading up to their event. Doctors call these sentinel headaches because they come first as a warning. What makes this dangerous is how easily it's missed. We take a pill, lie down, wait it out. But when a blood vessel is leaking or ready to burst, that pain is your brain's emergency alarm. So if you or someone you love suddenly experiences an unusual, intense headache, especially one that comes with nausea, confusion, or vision trouble, don't wait. Call for help, because in the world of stroke, minutes matter, and your brain can't afford to wait. Symptom number 6, numbness or weakness in limbs. You're holding your coffee, and suddenly your hand feels strange. Not painful, but numb. Or maybe you notice one arm feels weak or heavier, then a leg, then it goes away. Too often people chalk this up to sleeping wrong or pinching a nerve. But this kind of one-sided numbness or weakness, especially if it comes on suddenly, is one of the most important warning signs of stroke. Here's why when a clot temporarily blocks blood flow to part of the brain, it can trigger a transient ischemic attack, or TIA, also called a mini-stroke. The symptoms often fade within minutes, but the risk doesn't. In fact, according to the National Stroke Association, nearly 1 in 3 people who experience a TIA will have a full-blown stroke within 90 days. For many, that stroke happens within just 48 hours. So if your arm, leg, or even face suddenly feels numb, weak, or just off, don't wait to see if it gets better. Call your doctor. Call 911, because what disappears today could return tomorrow with permanent consequences. Early action can make the difference between recovery and a lifetime of disability. Symptom number 7, face sensation changes. You're brushing your teeth, and suddenly half your face feels different. Not numb, not quite painful, but strange, like pins and needles. Maybe you smile and notice one side doesn't quite lift, or your cheek feels like it's not really there. These subtle changes in facial sensation, tingling numbness or an odd heaviness, can be early signs of a stroke, especially when they affect just one side. They often go unnoticed or get dismissed as nothing serious. But here's the reality. The brain controls sensation and movement through very precise pathways. When blood flow is interrupted even briefly, those pathways get disrupted. What you feel on your skin is a reflection of what's happening deeper inside. Many stroke survivors say they had this exact symptom days before their major event. It came and went. No pain, no urgency. But it was their brain's first whisper. So if you ever feel something strange on one side of your face, numbness, tingling, or even a drooping smile, don't wait to see if it clears up. This isn't something to sleep off. It's a possible pre-stroke warning. And the sooner you respond, the more of your brain you can protect. Symptom number 8. Speech problems. You try to speak, and the words just don't come out right. Maybe you're slurring, maybe your mouth is moving but nothing sounds clear, or maybe you're thinking the right words, but can't seem to say them. This is more than just a senior moment. Sudden trouble with speech is one of the classic warning signs of a stroke. It's called aphasia, a temporary or permanent disruption in the brain's language center, and it doesn't always happen during a major event. Sometimes it's the sign right before. A friend of mine, age 63, told me she was on the phone one evening and suddenly couldn't form a full sentence. She was aware, alert, but her voice wouldn't follow. Within 48 hours, she suffered a full ischemic stroke. That moment of jumbled speech was her warning. If this ever happens to you or someone you're with, don't wait it out, don't brush it off. Because even a few minutes of misfiring speech can mean a disruption in blood flow to the brain. And if you act fast, you can stop the damage before it becomes permanent. Symptom number 9, dizziness or loss of balance. You stand up from your chair and the room spins, or you're walking across the kitchen and suddenly stumble like your legs forgot how to move. You tell yourself it's just being tired, maybe dehydration, maybe the floor is uneven. But dizziness, especially if it's sudden and severe, can be your brain's way of warning you that something's not right. When blood flow to the cerebellum, the part of the brain that controls coordination, is interrupted even briefly, your balance is the first thing to go. That's why strokes in this region often show up as vertigo, staggering, or feeling like the floor has shifted under your feet. And here's what's scary. Many people dismiss this symptom until they fall. And for older adults, that fall can lead to broken bones, hospital stays, and even more serious complications. So if you feel a wave of dizziness that comes out of nowhere, or if your legs feel unstable without explanation, don't brush it off, especially if it's paired with nausea, double vision, or slurred speech. You're not just losing balance, you might be losing precious time. Symptom number 10, neurological problems. Sometimes the warning signs aren't loud. They don't come with numbness, slurred speech, or dramatic falls. Instead, they whisper through confusion. Foggy thinking, trouble remembering names, feeling unusually nauseous, maybe even vomiting. These subtle neurological symptoms can show up days or even weeks before a stroke strikes. And because they're vague, they're easy to explain away. Maybe I didn't eat enough. Maybe I'm just tired. But if you start forgetting common things, feel unusually confused, or have trouble concentrating, especially if that's new for you, it may not just be one of those days. Your brain is your body's command center. When blood flow is disrupted even slightly, the signals get scrambled. That can affect memory, mood, focus, even your personality. In some cases, people experience mild seizures or intense emotional swings before a stroke. Others describe feeling disconnected from reality or like they're watching their own life from outside their body. If you or someone close to you starts acting not quite right, don't wait to see if it passes. These neurological glitches could be the brain's last warning before a stroke hits, and listening to them could save a life. Let's go back to the woman I told you about at the beginning. 67, retired, walking her dog every morning. She didn't smoke, she wasn't overweight. She thought she was doing everything right. But the signs were there. She had been feeling unusually tired for days. She had trouble sleeping. Her balance felt off one morning and she blamed the carpet. Then came the headache, sharp and fast. She popped 2 painkillers and went on with her day. That night, she collapsed. Her stroke didn't come out of nowhere. Her body had been speaking, whispering, nudging, begging her to listen. And that's the lesson here for all of us. If you're over 60, you already know how quickly life can change. You've seen friends, neighbors, maybe even loved ones fall ill without warning. But what if it wasn't really without warning? What if they just didn't know what to look for? Now you do. Now you know that a headache isn't always just a headache. That dizziness isn't always dehydration. That slurred speech or numbness, even for a few minutes, can mean something serious is coming. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until you're another statistic. Listen to your body, trust your instincts, and most importantly, act. If this video helped you see even one symptom differently, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you love. A spouse, a sibling, a friend from church. Because the more people who know what to watch for, the more lives we can protect. Stroke doesn't have to take us by surprise. Not anymore. You have the knowledge now. You have the power to act early. And that might make all the difference. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We release new videos every week, all designed for people over 60 who want to stay sharp, strong, and independent for as long as possible. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you or someone you know ever experienced any of these signs before a stroke? Share your story in the comments below. Your words could be the wake-up call someone else needs. Thank you for watching. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay well. We'll see you in the next video.